Did you ever see a rookie hype up his teammate and accidentally light a fire he could not control? On February 27, 1996, a 19-year-old Kevin Garnett tried it in Chicago, and the lesson arrived wearing number 23. The Timberwolves had swagger, the Bulls had history, and the game felt closer than anyone expected. Isaiah J.R. Rider was in rhythm. Minnesota kept answering every push, and the building had that restless buzz that says something unusual might be happening. Then Garnett spoke too loudly near the wrong person. He told Rider to keep going at Michael, that the legend could not guard him, and he said it with the volume of a victory parade. Jordan heard every word. He turned with that flat calm, hands on hips, and offered no speech at all. This was not a random night on the schedule. The Bulls were 50 wins and 6 losses strong, a national tour disguised as a season. Michael had come back from baseball and looked sharper by the week. Scottie Pippen was everywhere at once, scoring, passing, and defending with surgical calm. Dennis Rodman turned missed shots into extra lives and opponents into puzzles. The Timberwolves arrived 16-38, but they were young and bold and proud of the kid who leapt straight from high school. It was a perfect mix, a dynasty chasing history and a hungry group eager to touch it. Jordan announced his mood early. He cut backdoor on a give and go with Luke Longley and hammered a dunk that snapped heads around. Moments later, he soared to erase a Garnett attempt at the rim, a veteran message that the airspace near the basket belonged to him. Rider did not flinch. He attacked off the dribble with pace and power, pulled up over contests, and used his body to finish through contact. Garnett hit a smooth turnaround in the post that felt like a preview of the star he would become. It was a game, not a ceremony, and the Wolves intended to make Chicago feel it. Chicago's offense had that steady hum only great teams own. Jordan picked a pocket and whipped a pass to Pippen for a three-point play. He found Rodman cutting behind a ball watcher for a layup. When he rested, Minnesota pounced. Garnett worked the paint with soft touch. Rider shook free and kept scoring in bunches. Phil Jackson glanced at the scoreboard, shrugged at the momentum, and sent Jordan back in. First touch, a long two-splash clean. Second, a handoff from Rodman into a drifting fade that drew contact and still fell. Rider answered in traffic, and the crowd leaned forward as if watching a boxing match with both fighters smiling. The half ended with pure audacity, Tony Kukoc stepping into a 30-footer at the buzzer, while a wide-open Jordan waited on the wing. Jordan grinned at the nerve, and the Bulls jogged to the locker room up 3. Minnesota had survived the first wave. The third quarter looked like a tug of war. Chicago nudged in front by 6, only for Rider to claw it back with contested buckets that made you shake your head. The Timberwolves bench was loud. Garnett bounced in place, talking and clapping, convinced they were one run away from flipping the script. And then he got too close to the sun. Coming out of a timeout, he pumped up Rider again. Voice up, words sharp, keep going at him, he cannot guard you. Jordan was within range. He turned slowly, that quiet look that players still describe years later, the one that feels like the gym temperature dropping. First possession of the final period, Jordan drove strong, created contact, and knocked down 2 free throws like morning routine. Next trip, he attacked Garnett's body, felt the bump, and earned 2 more. Then, he grabbed a defensive rebound in traffic, pushed the ball up himself, and pulled from the top of the key for a 3 that felt like a signature. Minnesota called time, but timeouts do not cool lava. Back on the floor, Jordan posted the rookie, spun to the baseline, and dropped a high fadeaway that kissed glass and slipped through as if it had an appointment. The Wolves tried to answer with speed. Chicago answered with pressure. Twice in a row, Minnesota failed to cross half court in 10 seconds. A small thing that felt huge as the crowd roared. Pippen jumped lanes. Rodman vacuumed boards and instantly flipped the floor. Harper shadowed ball handlers into mistakes. In the middle of it all, Jordan played conductor. Cut, catch, pivot, rise, string. Elbow jumper to the right, then the same shot from the left. Glide to the middle, stop short, soft touch. He tallied points and control with the same motion. What made it brutal was the silence. Jordan did not celebrate much, did not taunt, did not grandstand. He let the work speak. Angles did the talking. Footwork did the talking. The shoulder fake and the one hard dribble did the talking. Garnett contested and learned that a perfect contest can still be late against the most polished mid-range attack in history. Ryder, so bold for 3 quarters, suddenly found fewer daylight pockets and a lot more red jerseys. Possessions slowed. Chicago's lead grew without a single dramatic speech, just the steady click of a legend deciding things. By the last 5 minutes, the arithmetic was simple. Jordan's total clicked to 35, a number that would be a career night for many, and felt like a middle stanza for him. The margin swelled to 21. Minnesota's body language told the truth long before the horn. Shoulders slumped, heads tilted, hands on shorts. The Wolves had gone from swinging free to paddling upstream against a current that only got stronger. Afterward, the story did not need spin. Garnett told it himself for years. He had family in the stands, adrenaline in his chest, pride for his teammate, and a voice that carried. He owned how quickly it flipped. He talked about the 2 10-second calls, about how Ryder could not buy a bucket for a stretch, about how Jordan's stare said everything. It never sounded like shame. It sounded like a basketball education delivered at full volume. That is why this game survives as more than a box score. We love talent, but we remember lessons. Garnett would grow into one of the greatest competitors the league has seen, a most valuable player who turned intensity into a system. On this night, he met the cost of speaking in the wrong ear. Some stars you can needle. Some are pressure cookers that whistle when you mess with the valve. Jordan was the latter. Place it in context and it gets even bigger. The Bulls were sprinting toward the best regular season the league had ever seen, and Jordan was stacking moments that doubled as warnings. The league kept asking if he could still grab a game by the throat the way he once did. Nights like this answered without debate. He could, he did, and he would again on the way to another ring and the spine of a second three-peat. Minnesota did not leave empty-handed. Hidden inside the burn was a blueprint. Garnett trimmed the careless talk and kept the fire. He built his mid-post footwork and learned how to lift teammates without lighting opponents. He became the veteran who told young guys to keep their voices low and their standards high. 12 years later, he held a trophy and shouted that anything is possible, and you could trace part of that belief back to the night he learned when to be loud and when to listen. For Jordan, this was another chapter fans still use when they explain him to new eyes. You can show the rings and the awards, but it is stories like this that make the numbers feel human. A close game, a sentence from a teenager, a glance from a legend. Then the switch flips, and the quarter turns into a highlight reel of inevitability. The dunk to open the door, the blocked shot to set the tone, the steal to feed Pippen, the patient passes to Rodman and Kerr, the 3 he created by rebounding and pushing. So remember the rule the rookies whisper to each other: do not poke the bear. It is not a slogan for a wall, it is a survival tip born in arenas where belief echoes, and sometimes it finds the one set of ears it should not. Garnett believed in his guy and paid the tax. Jordan felt the challenge in the air, nodded once, and wrote the ending himself. The Bulls marched toward a ring. The rookie marched toward greatness. And everyone else walked out of the building repeating a truth that never gets old. If you invite Michael Jordan into a personal duel, he will accept it on a timer you cannot see. And by the time you realize it, the game is already over.